So what makes a good inclusive leader? I believe that what makes a good inclusive leader is a leader who first include themselves, have the courage to include themselves in their dream and not excluding who they are. Of course, is a little bit of wishful thinking in there. It's because it's not easy, but the capacity to include yourself as you are, not as you should be, or you wish you were, or you wish would come back to. The more we can develop our capacity to appreciate, and which doesn't mean appreciate who we are on the whole range of our behaviors and our stories and our dreams and our opinions. Those we love to share with everyone, and those we are a little bit ashamed of, or we hope nobody is going to discover. I know that's what you did last summer. All these little things, I think that's like a good inclusive leader. It's very difficult to include others when we cannot include ourselves. If you can't include yourself when you include others, meaning you're pretending, you're deferring, but you're not necessarily including. You're complying. If we are including, which means accepting others as they are, without necessarily accepting ourselves as we are, there is a little bit of this compliance, a little bit of passive behavior, which is in there. Because finally, you need to learn to receive before you can give. It's the same thing for leadership and for inclusive leadership. The more you can include the whole of yourself, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the great, the easier it is to do with others. And that's on, let's say, a very symmetrical, similar range. But there is also the more you can include the whole of yourself and its limitation and the stories of your country and the stories of your family and all of this as what it is, not what it should have been or what you wish people would see, the easier it is to be with other people's perspective and stories and family stories and economic stories and country history and religion and all of that as human stories and world manifestation, which is not about stories, but simply about manifestation that we are very ill-equipped to even begin to grasp. But within the realm of human, the story we tell ourselves about how we can understand the world, the more I can be with other people's stories and my limited understanding of what they can be, the easier it is for me. Because the more I'm interested in myself and my own development and my own growth, the easier it is to be interested in others. So if I can look at myself in the mirror and be okay with what I see, it's going to be much easier to see others as they are, to see them, and to recognize that I can only see them through my eyes. So the clearer my eyes, the more I can see. And the more I can see, the more I know it's limited. And therefore, the more there might be some curiosity about exploring and inviting them to share with me the world they see through their eyes. So that I can start to learn something and expand my capacity to see, my capacity to feel on the potential of what it is to be human. And that's also leading. We cannot not lead in many ways. So another word maybe we can use here is a big word. We can use unconditional love. When we have the opportunity to receive unconditional love, which we all define differently, but today I might share my take on it. I understand by unconditional love is the love I have for the world and for myself, my family included, as not being conditioned by anything, but being a total appreciation of what there is when it is as it is, even if sometimes it feels unfair and it's thin. When I can do that with myself, I can also do it with others, which does not prevent me from putting limits and creating boundaries, but I create boundaries and limits and reorientation from a place of appreciation rather than from a place of exclusion and fear. Yeah? My theory of thinking. I think another one we want to share here about inclusive leadership is the recognition that all voices have equal value. Every voice has equal value. but they don't have equal power. Yeah. And that might feel unfair, but the flag of fairness is very mobile, let's say, has a lot of mobility, and the flag of power is extremely mobile. It doesn't have preferences. It moves wherever the wind moves. Some centuries and sometime in history it went that way, some other time it went the other way. It's like the tide, it's like the waves. It's moving where it's going. And when we are responding and engaging with that fact or that perspective, then it's much easier to embrace power and to embrace power as a manifestation of the collective rather than a manifestation of the few. Even if it's true that sometimes it's held in the hand of the few that ask other questions. That's it for now.